Hi, I'm Ryan from class of 2017. I will be interviewing Dr. J. Marshall from class of 1958. You attended Rossman at its original location on Delmar Boulevard. What was Rossman like then?
Well, Rossman was in a converted home on the south side of Delmar Boulevard. It was 3 stories, had a basement, and around it was a paved yard that was our playground. And there were various areas of it with swing sets and jungle gyms and so forth, but there was no grass. The only grass was a little tiny plot right in front of the building. There was a fire escape that you could come out of the 3rd floor and slide down to the pavement. When you came in the front door, you saw this lobby area, and then you saw this great stairway going up and turning and going back off. Off to the left, there was a bench, a wooden bench about 15 feet long, and that was the detention bench. That was what you guys refer today as timeout. And so if you did something wrong, you sat there. But everybody that went from class to class, they would see you, and so you were sitting out there in public view as being a bad boy. So it was an interesting way to deal with punishment.
What is your favorite Rossman memory?
Well, as I described the school had no place to really play on grass, and I loved baseball. So what they did, as I got a little bit older, they actually had the head of the athletic department take us over to Forest Park. And we would get in this little van, we'd go over to Forest Park, and we'd get on a ball diamond over there, we'd play, and we could get out and really run around and have a good time. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the school, but that was one of my favorite memories.
Which teacher left the greatest impression on you?
My favorite was actually my kindergarten teacher. Her name was Mrs. Allen, and she had a cocker named Wendy that she would bring to school every day. And Wendy would wander around the class, and we could play with Wendy and do our thing, and she was just very enjoyable. In fact, I was talking about my classmate Cliff Saxton, who is still involved with the school. And Cliff, I talked to just recently, and he said that he had kept up with Mrs. Allen and until her death in the late 80s. But she was a very, very fine lady.
Your grandmother, Pauline Marshall, was a teacher at Rossman while you attended. What was that like? Did you ever get in trouble with her?
Yes, my grandmother, she was actually my step-grandmother. I saw her a lot. She was a very impressive woman. We called her Grand. And she was a 6th grade teacher when I was at Rossman. So I did not actually have her as a teacher because I had left before 6th grade. But I saw her a lot. And knowing that she was there, and knowing that I had an extra pair of eyes on me always affected me. But as far as day-to-day experience at school, I didn't have that much with her. Of course, I had a lot of experience with her out of school.
Your grandmother later became headmistress of Rossman, and your father was a board member during Rossman's relocation to Creve Coeur. What comes to mind when you think about the major role your family played in securing Rossman's 100-year legacy?
You know, I'm very proud of what they did. Obviously, if the move had not been made from Delmar to Conway Road, the school would have not have done well. That area was in decline, and people really didn't want to go down there. So when she was a headmistress, she really had to come up with some plan. And so my father, as it happened, was on the board at the time that she was going to make that move, and so he was actually involved with the acquisition of the land out here on Conway, and he and she helped put it together. But it was obviously an incredibly strategic move for the school, and without it, I don't think the school would have done very well.
If your grandmother, Pauline Marshall, were head of school now, what do you think she would be most surprised by?
Oh, she'd be blown away. I mean, this is a whole different cosmos out here now. I'm sure she'd be incredibly proud that she started this move out here, but I think she'd be surprised by the size, the student number of students, the physical plant, I don't think that the fact that it's remained a good school would surprise her. I don't think the fact that it still has wonderful teachers would surprise her because that's the way it was, but the actual physical presence of this school was totally different.
You were recognized with Rossman's Distinguished Alumni Award in 2012. How did that feel?
Having that honor as being a distinguished alumnus of the school it blew me away. I did not expect it, and I was greatly honored.
Tell me a little about your life today.
Well, I'm retired. I've been fully retired since 2012, so I'm almost at 4 years. We shortly after my retirement made our move to the farm, and so the farm is now our permanent residence, although we still have a small place in town. So I'm pretty much a farmer. We have a cow herd. We have about 35 cows, and a bull, and a bunch of calves, and all the work that goes on with a 450-acre farm, and so that pretty much takes care of my time. My wife and I travel, and my wife rides horses a lot. So we're busy. We enjoy it. We have 6 grandchildren. We get a chance to see them a lot. So that's pretty much what we do.
What do you consider to be your greatest accomplishments since graduating from Rossman?
By this time in life, when you've gone through a wonderful marriage and having 3 children and 6 grandchildren, and a medical practice that you loved, and teaching people, and hopefully helping people, there are just a whole lot of high points. And so to say that one of those is the highest point, I really can't say that. I mean, being distinguished alumnus here was a high point, a significant high point. So I'd say all those things together.
What character traits did Rossman instill in you to lead you to success in the field of medicine?
Well, one thing I've noticed, I've alluded to this before, but one thing I've noticed in watching the 6th graders that come to Rossman, that come to the farm with Rossman, is that they are very attentive to each other, and they're very kind to each other, and they have been taught to do things like reach out and shake an adult's hand and look them in the eye when they do that, and to get along. And I think that was the case when I was there. It's still the case, and I think those kind of things help me a lot. Those are the sort of the intangibles that come along with going to a good school.
Describe Rossman in 3 words.
The third parent. I mean, Rossman taught you and so forth, but they also nurtured you in such a way that in many ways Rossman was a parent.
What is your lasting impression of Rossman?
My lasting impression of Rossman is that it's a place that is imbued in kindness and friendliness and support, and trying its very, 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 very best to make young people the best they could be.
Thank you for coming, Dr. Marshall.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.